Hello guys, this is your friend Naruto Dark Verse. We are back with a new fanfic. Which is What If Naruto Loves with Hinata and Was Half Uchiha Part 1. And if you enjoy this fanfic, then please press the like button and subscribe to my channel for more fanfic like this. And now let's start the fanfic. Hyuga Hinata was known as a shy, well-mannered, very disciplined and diligent teacher by her students. Yet this diligent teacher didn't feel so diligent when she was laying on her side, under her thin comfortable blanket in the early morning in the middle of the summer. She planned to lie down and do nothing at least for the next 10 minutes. Morning sun, finished marked papers, weekend, such a blissful life. She almost fell asleep soon only to be awoken by a persistent ringing bell of her door. She frowned when she remembered that she didn't make any plans with either her family or friends, yet the ringing didn't stop, which meant it was important. Hinata, the ever so polite woman, didn't even curse the person behind the door and went to the door hurriedly. Her mind went to a big whirl of bad possibilities she might had at that moment. "Wait, please," she stated from the hall as she was tightening the tie of her lavender satin robe. Wait," she said again while unlocking the door. The odd thing was there was no response from the person behind the door or any presence when she saw through the peeping hole. The door was swung open toward apartment's hall. She mumbled lowly when her door was stuck. She couldn't open it as wide as she usually does. She pushed further and there was indeed something blocking the door. Hinata walked and looked behind the door and she gasped. She looked around and found no one at the hallway. "It's impossible," she murmured and squatted down. "What are you doing here, little one?" she cooed. In front of her was an ordinary medium-sized light brown basket, but it was the content that drew Hinata's attention. It was a pretty black-haired baby with pinkish cheek and lips, covered by dark blue blanket and a fluffy pillow with same color propped under his head. The baby smiled brightly to her when Hinata touched its plump cheek. "Who are you, little angel?" She looked around once again and found no one. "Someone must have left you here, she said again in higher and softer voice. The baby swung its fist energetically and Hinata was entranced by the baby's dark charcoal eyes. "Where is your mommy, daddy?" The baby blinked and grumbled indecisively. "I wonder where they are." Hinata scooted closer to the basket and found a small folded paper placed next to the baby, confined between the baby and the basket. "He is your son. His name is Haruto. I have enough with Uchiha. Goodbye." "Oh, no," Hinata whispered sadly. Her heart dropped, her body went rigid when she grasped the fact. "So, you are Haruto-kun, he mumbled as if he answered Hinata's question. "Such pretty boy, but we are in a big problem, Haruto-kun." The baby was left by his mother. Hinata was sure after looking at the delicate written and curve of the letters, all thanks to years teaching and reading her students' handwriting, and the mother obviously left the little boy at the wrong address. She wasn't an Uchiha and she undoubtedly wasn't a he. That meant Haruto-kun was alone, abandoned, his mother left him and his father didn't even know his existence and had to rely on Hinata now, yet the baby still smiling brightly. Seeing no other option, she decided to take Haruto in and was going to make her several decisions regarding this little guy. "Don't worry, little one, we will find your parents. I promise you that." There was no way she would leave the baby suffer alone. Her upbringing wouldn't allow that, her profession wouldn't either. She closed the door with an ease and a bright smile, being positive that everything would be okay. "Haruto is a smart boy, isn't he?" Hinata said happily while putting aside the worn clothes. She had just bathed the little soldier and he was ready to take his meal. Hinata nudged the feeding bottle she found beneath the thick pillow Haruto had earlier. Fortunately, his mother was thoughtful enough to put several clean clothes and stuff Haruto would need in such short notice. Haruto took the nipple and refused to have it after a short sip. "Come on, darling, it's your time to drink now." He kept refusing and started to cry. Hinata scooped Haruto into her arm and swayed her arms a little. "I know it's not like your mommy, but it will help your tummy, okay?" She whispered softly to the baby, and after a while Haruto seemed to accept whatever he had at that moment and started to suck the milk quickly. That's a good boy, Hinata announced proudly when Haruto finished his milk in less than 5 minutes. It's time to sleep, huh? She patted his back gently to help him to burp and put him back to his bed, a stack of thick towels which Hinata used as a makeshift bed for baby. She made a mental note to buy several things for the new member in her home, that will wait. We will be okay for tonight. She mumbled sleepily and laid down next to the baby, following him to the La La Land. Hinata enjoyed her weekend more after that. Her little guest kept her entertained and very lovely. Haruto would laugh whenever Hinata played with him. He would return Hinata's playful nudge on his small fist automatically and mumbled his abstract words to answer her questions. He was an angel. On the next Monday, the reality slapped on her face, hard. Haruto was not hers and she had no right to take him in despite being so eager to do so. Haruto's mother wished Haruto to live a safe and happy life with his father, not a stranger like Hinata. She had to help Haruto to meet his father, someone who named Uchiha. She didn't know who an Uchiha was and that would be a long way to find him. Hinata glanced at the big round white watch on her wall. It was almost time to go to school. She could neglect neither her work nor Haruto. Finally she got up from her small blue sofa and dialed a familiar number. Hinata-chan, where are you? Are you okay? A soft voice said immediately after picking up her call. I'm okay, Kurenai-sensei. She glanced at Haruto who was playing with a small black raven plush doll which he insisted to have so much when Hinata brought him to baby shop yesterday and didn't let the toy go if he could help it. That's good, I will see you at the school. She said. Actually, can you tell Headmaster Tsunade that I will take first period off today? I have something important to do. Sure. No problem, but can you tell me what happens? Are you sick? Do you need me to accompany you? No, I'm fine, really. I just need to go to the police station first before go to school. Now I definitely need your explanation here. What happened? Did someone barge into your room? An accident? Or, don't tell me that jerk comes back to stalk you. If he is, I will make sure to hurt him in the most painful place and guarantee that he will regret it for the rest of his life. Her coworker said menacingly. No, it's not about him, Kurenai-sensei. Hinata-chan. She sighed. 2 months ago a creepy man was following Hinata around and terrorized her apartment. It needed Kurenai-sensei's threats, the security warning and even Kiba's involvement to make him stop. Fortunately she didn't have to meet the stalker anymore after that. It's not him, it's something else. I will tell you later after I meet Kiba-kun. Hinata promised. Seeing no other choice she answered, alright, just be careful, okay? I will tell Tsunade-san, she will understand. Okay. Thank you, Kurenai-sensei. She sighed deeply. My, how many times should I tell you to call me Kurenai, Hinata-chan? I will take your class then, since I have no class for the first period. Thank you very much, Kurenai-sensei, Kurenai-san. Her coworker laughed lightly. Alright, I will wait for you then. Be careful, okay? Surely. They said goodbye and Hinata went to Haruto. Ready to go to an adventure, Haruto-kun. The baby giggled as Hinata scooped him into her arms. Hash. Kiba yawned and walked sluggishly to the main hall. His partner told him that a pretty woman was looking for him. He had to beat his own partner to stop his teasing. Usually he wouldn't mind the teasing, but after long night chasing a stupid robber and had to make a long report about damages at several shop and public instruments, not to mention a long apologize letter for the public relations department, to blame. It was really a pain in the. Yet his lethargic disappeared when he saw his childhood friend at the big hall. Hinata. He grinned happily and ran toward her. Kiba-kun. She replied and smiled at him. Are you okay, Kiba-kun? You look pale. She asked after she saw his face. Hinata. The angel. Ah, Never mind it. I just had a long night, not a big deal. He answered honestly. You should take care of yourself well, Kiba-kun. Yeah, but we hardly get a chance and I can either crash at the station's quarter or go home for a while but well. He shrugged. What's the matter? He asked quickly as he saw Hinata was carrying a small bundle in her arms, a bundle which was wriggling and creating funny voice. He walked closer to her and took a peek. There was a small baby with a thick blanket wrapped around him. The baby had clear skin and black eyes and hair. I have never seen this baby before. Who is it? Neji's friend's baby. The man with those silly green spandex jumpsuit. Hinata giggled at how Kiba described Neji's friend, Rock Lee. No, it's not Lee-san's baby. Haruto is the reason why I come to see you, Kiba-kun. The dark-skinned man arched an eyebrow. Haruto. This baby. After a stalker now a baby, huh? You are one busy girl, Hina. Well, I can't help it. His mother left Haruto in front of my door 2 days ago. He has no one to lean on and I can't and won't leave him alone. She left a memo telling that his father's name is Uchiha. Can you help me to find his parents? Uchiha. Do you know which one? I live here barely a year, Kiba-kun. Except for my cousin and his friends, you and Kurenai-sensei, I practically have no friends here. Kiba groaned. You are plainly right. You don't know about Uchiha, do you? He put his hands into his jacket's pocket. Hinata shook her head softly. Hinata naturally didn't know since she spent almost all of her life at their hometown and decided to move to a big city permanently after gaining her certificate for teaching. The Uchiha is a big family who work in shadow. They rarely show themselves and prefer to pull the string from behind the scenes. There are lots of them, you can say that they are a big clan. With those conditions it would be difficult and taking more time than usual cases. I understand. Hinata bit her lower lip. What if Haruto-kun is not an Uchiha? That is possible, isn't it? She added quickly. Well, I met 1 or 2 Uchiha years ago and they had same traits with this baby, despite this one is cuter, so I can say that this baby is one of them. He is head to the baby. I see. Hinata said softly but Kiba could hear a hint of disappointment in her voice. Ma, don't worry too much, I will do anything I can to find his parents. That put a smile on Hinata's face. Yes, that will be great. Haruto's mother must be worried sick about her son's well-being. The brown-haired man grimaced. Doubt it. If she did worried, she wouldn't have dumped her son from the start. Hinata cringed. Yes, you are right. Here, give me the baby. The tall detective stretched out his hands to take the baby. Don't worry, I will make sure he will be fine and well fed. He added when he saw Hinata tightened her embrace. Hinata shook her head. Kiba-kun. Hinata, you know the rules right? The unattended child will be sent to institution till we find the parents. Hinata nodded but she didn't move any limbs. Yes, but Kiba-kun. She was pleading to her friend with her big doe eyes. Both Kiba and Hinata knew that the man couldn't say no to her request. Taking care of a baby is a big job, Hina. I know, we have been together since Saturday. You have to fill documents and it won't be easy. I will survive, Hinata said with determination. Kiba scratched and tugged his hair in frustration. Hinata, this is not a joke. You are going to work and take care of this baby at the same time. You are going to divide your attention to your work, the baby and your own life. It will be very tiring. He tried to explain again. I will manage, Kiba-kun. Hinata smiled solemnly to her friend. Being with her for years he had learned that Hinata could be very stubborn and you couldn't change her after she decided something. Kiba threw his hands up as a defeat. Fine. However, I will not help you to take care of the baby, though. With that Hinata beamed with happiness. Oh, thank you, Kiba-kun. You will regret it, he warned her. No way, and if I ever heard you regretting it, I will proudly tell you, I told you so. Hinata giggled. 1 hour later Hinata stepped out of the station with a bright smile. At least she could have Haruto until he found his parents. She was selfish, she knew it, but she couldn't leave him alone. Haruto needed her. Do you need a lift? Hinata shook her head. I will be okay, it's not that far. She straightened her big slig bag filled with both her papers and Haruto's supply. You okay? Yeah, fantastic. Kiba rolled his eyes. He could see beads of sweat formed at her temple, but she was just too stubborn. Don't say that I don't warn you. He repeated. Okay. She giggled again. Bye, Kiba-kun. You should take your rest now. And don't expect me to help you with his diapers even if you beg. He shouted to her, which replied with a wave. She wouldn't regret anything. Haruto was too precious. 4 days later, Hinata started to feel the side effects. Having long sleepless night, making and grading papers were very exhausting. You okay, Hinata-chan? Kurenai's voice seemed so far away. Hinata rubbed her eyes sleepily. Yes, Kurenai-sensei. Just sleepy. She suppressed her yawn. Alright, just go to sleep. You can drop Haruto-kun at my house tomorrow. But, I can't impose you more than this. She had left Haruto to Sarutobi's household for this past 2 days. Nonsense. Asuma loves Haruto so much and he has nothing to do after finishing his new book anyway. Kurenai. Besides, he is a bit lonely since Mirai enters elementary school, she said wistfully. Hinata played the hem of her lavender skirt nervously. Okay. Perhaps it was for the best. Haruto wouldn't be lonely, too. She put her phone back to the low table in front of her. Haruto was sleeping next to Hinata. Truthfully, the intention to let Haruto go was occurred to her once, but she had shook it away quickly. She mustn't. Haruto needed her. She stared at the sleeping baby and his new bed Hinata bought for him on Monday and then concluded that her apartment changed into a family-like apartment. Empty bottles, tins of milk powder on the kitchen counter, pile of both unused and used disposable diapers behind the sofa and next to the trash can, was unusual view, at least for Hinata. Everything will be okay, I'm sure, she thought. Or as okay as it should be if only there was no loud music from next door. She didn't know who her neighbor was since they had never met. Hinata always thought that it was empty. However, 2 days ago the owner decided to go home and to enjoy their life by turning on the music player to its max, from evening till dawn. It was always from a specific rock band with their heavy banging bass and electric guitar, from one track to another one. Endlessly. That was the reason why Haruto was in bad mood and fussy recently. A cute small frown was formed at the baby's face, yet it wasn't a good news. Oh, no, oh, no. Suddenly she heard a loud thud from next door and a muffled scream, or was it screeching? Of a woman. That startled Haruto and he cried. Hinata had never felt so peeved and wanted to curse as she had at that moment. Just what they did there. She picked Haruto up and went out of her apartment. She would like to leave Haruto at the apartment, but it didn't sit well for her. Hinata pressed the doorbell 2 times, then 4. There was no response, of course, given the loud and disturbing music, and Hinata had anticipated it. She even wondered why nobody filed a complaint. Haruto grumbled and moved against her hug, so Hinata straightened him and put his head on her shoulder, one hand propped on his bottom and one patting his back so fly while punching the doorbell impatiently. Just before she stretched her hand to push the bell again, the door was opened quickly. Damn it, Naruto. Can't you turn off that damn music? A man with black t-shirt cursed someone behind him without looking at Hinata. I'm sorry about the noise. I will talk to them. Hinata could only stand stiffly with her jaw dropped, gasped at the man. His hair was as dark as the night with the identical colored eyes and a perfect shaped nose with just as perfect shaped lips. It was the dark hair and eyes that caught Hinata's attention. The remarkably features which she had accustomed and adored from a small little baby in her arms. What's wrong? A bare-chested blonde man with tan skin appeared behind the quiet man. Naruto, I tell you to put on your shirt, you idiot. A high-pitched voice from a beautiful lady with short pink hair appeared soon after that. Unfortunately, Haruto picked up that right moment to wriggle and whine. Hinata had no other choice than to carry him laying on her arms. Holy shit. I don't know you have a kid, moreover you don't tell me, Tem. The blonde said soon after he saw Haruto. He even pushed himself out of the room to look at the baby better, didn't even bother to put on a shirt or to mind that he was outside that everyone could see him, or that Hinata was a bit uncomfortable with his condition. Sasuke-kun, the pink-haired lad said softly with uncertainty next to him. You are an Uchiha, aren't you? Hinata asked firmly. Now she was sure Haruto could get his good sleep back and perhaps his father, too. The first thing Sasuke saw when he opened the door was a pair of pale lavender eyes, long lashes, small cute nose and pink lips that came from a tiny woman in front of his door. It was the first time he saw such fair skin and silky long hair that he had to ask the woman to repeat her question. You are an Uchiha, aren't you? She said again and he saw a baby in her arms after that. The baby with dark hair and charcoal eyes which he felt familiar. He heard his stupid best friend yelled how shocked he was that Sasuke had an unknown son. Sakura was standing silently and didn't say anything. And you are? Sasuke asked flatly to the woman. Your neighbor. My name is Hyuga Hinata and this is. She raised her arms and showing the baby to Sasuke, Uchiha Haruto-kun, your son. What? As I thought. He is your son, Tem. Sasuke heard Naruto exclaimed loudly which irritated the fair-skinned man's ears and mind. I'm sorry to disappoint you but he is not mine. Sasuke replied against Naruto's protest. So leave and I will make sure that they will not disturb you anymore. He dragged Naruto back to his apartment much to Naruto's chagrin. But, the woman, Hyuga Hinata stuttered. Sasuke-kun. Sakura said firmly. She looked at him with displeasure. The raven-haired man just shrugged. What? You should listen to her first. Sakura nudged his shoulder softly. Sasuke placed his eyes back to the beautiful stranger. Believe we have to talk. Hyuga Hinata said again. She said sternly and her eyes filled with determination but Sasuke knew better. He could see the small trembles on her pinkish lips, she clearly was nervous or afraid or both. Fine. We will talk. Although I have to warn you, this is not mine so the talk will be ineffective and fruitless. The word this made Hinata frown but she kept her silence. Smart girl. Sasuke followed Naruto and Sakura to the apartment. He left the petite woman outside and he believed she would enter without his invitation. She was the one who insisted to talk, right? At the living room, Sakura was shoving worn-out jeans, orange t-shirt and any other form of clothes to Naruto. The dark-skinned man was whining and protesting loudly that Sasuke wondered how could the baby slept so soundly. He glanced the soft human pillow the baby was laying on and he knew why. Sasuke himself too would sleep soundly on those incredible mounds. The raven-haired man scoffed when he realized where his mind was trailing off to, he probably being alone for too long. We will go now, Sakura said apologetically. I'm sorry about being so loud lately. Naruto is a dork sometimes. Which Naruto replied with a louder, Sakura-chan. You should talk. I'm sure Sasuke will behave, right Sasuke-kun? The said man rolled his eyes and beckoned them to go away. They disappeared behind the door with a soft click. The man in the room sighed and started to clean his messy room. He brushed the bread crumbs, cookie crumbs and anything he found off of his sofa. Hinata stood awkwardly in the middle of the living room which mirrored her own. She imagined that the room would be very dirty and messy given how uproar and noisy the room for days. She even imagined that her neighbor was having some dark orgy at those time but she was proven wrong. Except for the crumbs and empty packs of foods and beverages in the living room, the apartment was very clean and organized, which made her felt ashamed for judging him unfairly and more ashamed after thinking back how messy her room was. You may have a seat, Sasuke said after dumping all of the trash to the trash can. No, I'm okay like this. She refused. She didn't know what they had done on it and dirt was the biggest enemy for a baby. Sasuke shrugged. If you said so. He flopped down on a single sofa and waited. So let's get to the point, Uchiha-san, because Haruto-kun needs his sleep. Haruto-kun is your son. Nope. He said confidently. Hinata wanted to protest, but the man cut her words, because I don't remember screwing with you. If I ever had, I would have certainly remembered it very clearly. Hinata blushed again, but she shook her head and stuttered, of course you don't, because I'm not his mother. She ended her sentence, hugging the baby more protectively. That got Sasuke's attention. Elaborate. Hinata inhaled to calm herself. It seems like Haruto-kun's mom got the wrong door. At first I thought she was merely put Haruto-kun at any door to let the owner finds Haruto-kun's father for him. Such loving mother. Sasuke commented dryly, but Hinata continued, I don't know who the father is. Even though you say I am his father. Sasuke said it as a question, not a statement. It's a coincidence actually. I was surprised to find you, too. Just now I was going to ask you to tune down the music or at least not being so loud, but then I found you. Haruto-kun resembles you in many ways, then I came to a conclusion, she made a mistake. She put Haruto-kun at my door, next to yours. It's supposed to be yours, but she mistook it and put him at my door. Hinata explained. You are convincing, but unfortunately I am not his father. It can be anyone. Hinata sighed. Yeah, but you have same traits with Haruto-kun. Fortuity, there are tons of people with black hair and eyes. It's nothing special or shocking matter. He shrugged. But you have the same aura and the proportionate smile and also perfect brows. Hinata insisted. I'll take it as a compliment. Was all Sasuke said with a smug smile which surprisingly fit him very well. Hinata rolled her eyes in frustration. Besides, his mother left a note saying that Haruto-kun's dad is an Uchiha, which I saw the exact name plate next to your door just now. Note. He raised an eyebrow, the perfect eyebrow which Hinata mentioned just now. Yes, she left a note which also saying that she had enough with Uchiha. She said as if she agreed and wrote it herself. Sasuke rubbed his chin thoughtfully and hummed, you ought to show me. Hina stepped back a little, clearly was taken aback by his words. Well, you tell me. No, accuse me that I am the father and have the proof. I have every single damn right to defend myself, too. You are right, but. Hinata said softly, but Sasuke could read her mind perfectly. Calm down, kitten. I won't bite, at least not now. He smiled smugly. Hinata clearly didn't believe his words. Sasuke sighed. All right, what about this? We go to your apartment next door and you can show me the note. I won't even step past the threshold. Tomorrow, perhaps, she said, under the bright sunlight, far from the darkness, because the tall Uchiha looked so intimidating at night as the shadows moved together with him and Hinata, afraid that they would jump on her or Haruto and drag them to the sinful darkness. Sasuke stood from his chair. Look, I am trying to solve this problem for you. When you are sure that I'm not his father, then you can go on to find the real one. He has head to the baby. Besides, the small boy has fallen asleep and it's better to let him sleep on his bed, it's more comfortable and you look tired yourself. Seeing Sasuke's points, Hinata sighed and nodded, all right. Perhaps, it's for the best. True to his words, Sasuke was standing next to the open door of Hinata's apartment. The said young woman was putting the small baby to sleep, then looking for the note he wanted to see. Sasuke played the doorknob and having some thoughts. He knew he was being an insensitive and rude jerk, but he couldn't help it. It was the first time he met a woman who didn't seek out for his attention. Well, Hyuga Hinata did, but in a completely different way than the other women usually do. She wasn't trying to flirt, to catch his attention or ogling at him openly like other women. Hyuga Hinata was looking at him with calculated gaze, evaluating whether he was suitable enough to have the baby, whether his environment was proper to raise a baby, and that piqued Sasuke's mind. That was the reason why he teased the young, perhaps virgin woman like some uneducated and uncivilized caveman. Hyuga Hinata did blushed furiously in front of him, but that was not because of her being interested to him but of embarrassment of Sasuke's comments more likely. Here. Hinata gave a small folded card to Sasuke. He took the paper and read it quickly. He is not mine, he said and gave the paper back to Hinata. What? Hinata asked in frustration and disbelief. He is not mine. You are accusing the wrong Uchiha. He said stoically. How can you be so sure? Hinata asked with small frown. She undoubtedly didn't believe in him. Because I am far too busy to care and to fuss around my needs these years, and believe me, my only relief comes from my hand. Do you understand me, princess? He placed one hand on the door and another one at the door frame, trapping Hinata between his hands, and smirked handsomely, which was not good for Hinata's heart. Hina's face couldn't get any redder than this, yet she nodded despite her embarrassment. Sasu nodded confidently. Glad you understand. He walked back to his room but stopped to say, besides, I always use protection whenever I do it. Don't want to have this kind of situation if I can help it. He grabbed the doorknob of his own apartment, which identical to Hinata's, but I think I will give you an exception, sweetheart. He chuckled and was answered by a loud thud from next door. He definitely had contaminated the poor girl. As he thought, he couldn't help it. She was just too innocent. The next morning was quiet as usual. Hinata put her belonging on the floor and locked the door with Haruto in her arms. Her meeting with Haruto, supposed to be father, was disaster, and she really hoped they could do something about Haruto's situation without seeing each other so much. The little baby was swinging his black plush doll and mumbling back to Hinata happily. Hinata giggled at him. Her lavender eyes were twinkling with love. Did you have a nice sleep last night? Hinata heard a deep familiar voice from behind. Today he was wearing a dark shirt with dark blue jeans and black boots to complement his appearance. Uchiha-san. Hinata greeted him politely. The soft-spoken woman was wearing thin long light purple cardigan and a plain white shirt under the cardigan. Her dress fell a centimeter below her knee, and comfortable shoes. They were not luxurious jewelry or splendid accessories, but she caught Sasuke's attention more than any woman ever had. Especially her radiant face, natural pinkish cheek and lips. The color seemed to have some liking to her and refused to disappear from her lovely face. Hyuga. He glanced to the small boy and his pink rabbit outwear. The fluffy rabbit ears were protruding and swaying as he moved. You have a unique color taste for his clothes. I'm sure in the future he will be very impressed of what he wears today. He snickered. Hinata ignored hints of sarcasm in his words and took her belonging. I have no choice. My colleague who has a daughter is nice enough to hand down her daughter's clothes. Beggar can't be chooser, you know. Also, a baby grows quickly, so he won't wear it for long. She turned to face her neighbor. Do you think Haruto-kun's father will be nice enough to buy him some proper clothes, or just let him wears whatever I found for him? Sasuke raised his brows in awe. This kitten surely can bite, he smirked. Sasuke followed into the elevator. Hinata took and leaned on the wall in ease. Where are you going? He asked. Someplace. She answered without looking at Sasuke, and unlike his guardian, Haruto was looking at Sasuke curiously. His big black round eyes were looking at him innocently. He scrutinized at Hinata silently. You plan to bring the baby to your work? Hinata sighed but ignored him and stepped out of the elevator quickly. I will ride you there on my way to meet the annoying blonde we met last night. He swiped Haruto off of her arms and marched to a nearby red sport car on his long legs. Hinata followed while protesting his sudden action. Put your bags here, he ordered and opened the door to Hinata. No, I can. She tried to take Haruto away. Sasuke pulled Haruto farther from Hinata's reach. I hear no rejection. Uchiha-san. Hinata said in annoyance. The tall man was very bossy and rude. It's Sasuke, he said confidently. Uchi. Listen, sweetheart, you should take any offers people offering to you. I don't need helps from stranger. We are not strangers, we are neighbor, Hinata. He took the liberty to call her by her given name. Uchiha-san. Hinata tried to ignore how he dropped the honorific so quickly. It's in the middle of summer, don't you think it's fair for Haruto to walk around under this heat? He explained to her logically. Hinata bit her lips, she knew that it was unfair for Haruto to suffer together with her. She looked at the baby. Haruto was looking at Sasuke intently. He obviously never heard such deep and low voice except Hinata's voice or his mother's too. Haruto needed a father figure next to him to help his mentality development, which Hinata could never provide. Right. She put her bags on the back seat and took Haruto from Sasuke. It's nice of your daddy, right, Haruto-kun? She commented on the passenger seat when Sasuke sat at the driver's seat. Sasuke scoffed. I'm neither his father nor Uchiha-san, and it's Sasuke, Hinata. Hinata decided to ignore his request since she didn't see any right to do it. Then, why are you helping us? I'm trying to help my neighbor. It's a social knowledge to help anyone who needs it. Is that wrong? And he started the car. I thought we were going to your workplace. Where are we? Sasuke raised his brows when he saw a big apartment complex from his seat. I didn't say so, you concluded it yourself. She straightened Haruto on her arms. I can't bring Haruto-kun to my workplace, it is too noisy and dangerous for him. My colleague who lends her daughter's clothes offers to watch Haruto-kun while I am working. Can you trust her? I can. Her husband is a nice doting father, he adores Haruto-kun very much. Hinata got off of the car. He frowned and followed her quickly. Yes, her husband has taken care of my boy for days now. It's not your colleague. Hinata chuckled. Of course not, she is working too, isn't she? Sasuke shook his head slowly. You shouldn't let him alone. What if? Well, Haruto-kun will be fine. It will be great if his father takes care of Haruto-kun himself, but Haruto-kun is with me, so it's my decision. Hinata shrugged nonchalantly. Sasuke raised his hands in frustration, but he gave up and walked away. Thanks for the ride, Uchiha-san. Hinata said when he reached his car. Sasuke rolled his eyes and entered the car elegantly. Hinata giggled. She was being childish, but she couldn't help it. Uchiha Sasuke was contradicting himself. On one hand, he refused to acknowledge Haruto as his son, but on the other hand, he was very attentive to the baby. Could it be possible that Sasuke wasn't Haruto's dad? But Haruto's mom definitely knew who the father was, and the only Uchiha who lived next door was Uchiha Sasuke. Hina. She heard someone called her. Kiba-kun. She smiled to the man. What are you doing here? He jogged to meet her pace. I'm going to Kurenai-sensei's house. Asuma-san is Haruto-kun's babysitter for the day. Ah, I see. He bent down to catch the baby's attention. Good morning, pup. It's a nice day out, huh? He messed Haruto's hair and held his tiny hand between his forefinger and thumb. Haruto smiled and laughed a little. Hinata smiled. Are you on your break time? Not really. I have an hour free, so I will check my rarely used apartment and then go back to the station. At this season, my friends take days off to go to holiday with their family, so I'm stuck being the watchdog. It's so sad to be single at this time. He grinned to the baby. You shouldn't be, Kiba-kun. We can have a barbecue party with Neji-Nisan and his friends before summer ends. We can go to the small cottage at the mountain and have a small gathering there. Really? That's a nice idea. Ask him to bring some cutie for me, huh? That turned the young policeman into a laughing frenzy. Hinata giggled but didn't pay any heed to his words as she knew he was jesting. I will send you more detailed information, okay? She smiled. All right. Oh, I haven't found the mother yet, anyway. I will call you when I find something. He said and messed Haruto's hair again before brushing Hinata's hair. Hinata replied, I will wait. He waved to her and they separated after that. They didn't know that someone was watching their interactions intently through his dark onyx eyes. Sasuke decided to came back and wait so he could offer Hinata a lift to her work, but he found the young woman was busy talking to a tall muscular man with some weird tattoos on his face. They looked friendly and he even touched Hinata and her baby casually. And that made the frown on that usually stoic face deepened. Sasuke went back to his car and drove away quickly with clouded minds. That night Sasuke insisted to talk with Hinata, demanding to meet her and the baby, talking about nothing in particular, making Hinata confused like hell. 10 long minutes in a confusing, roundabout and unimportant talks later he messed Haruto's soft dark hair and brushed Hinata's long hair nonchalantly. You may go now, he stated in a satisfaction tone and left Hinata in front of her door blinking in confusion, with the baby who was busy chewing his own fist, without saying his true intention. That Uchiha without doubt was the most unfathomable man she ever met. He is exercising his leg at this moment, Hinata said with a soft smile. That's good. It's better his legs than his vocal cord, she heard Kiba replied from the phone and Hinata giggled. He is a good boy, he never whines except when he is hungry or wets himself. It had been a week since she met Haruto and after her confrontation with the Uchiha, the apartment next door had become so quiet that Hinata wondered whether the owner was home or not all the time. But, geez. We still have got nothing so far, sorry, Hina, but we have some big cases and reports to fulfill, but I will try to find her as soon as possible. Kiba sounded so guilty which made Hinata felt bad to him. Oh. Okay. What's the matter? Is there something you want to tell me? No, not really, Kiba-kun. So suspicious, I work as a detective you know, Hinata. You must have something since you stutter and when you do it means you are debating to tell or not to tell, Hinata bit her lips and smiled sheepishly, not really, Kiba-kun. But when Kiba didn't add anything her stupid mouth moved by its own, Wah. What if I find his father? Well, that's even easier and better. Just give the kiddo to his father as his mother wishes. He replied energetically. Hinata sighed, but he neither acknowledges nor wants Haruto-kun. She heard Kiba sighed, well, it's understandable. It's an unknown son we are talking about and he appears so suddenly like a pimple on your face on one morning without warning. Haruto-kun is not some irritation on face, Kiba-kun. Hinata reprimanded softly. Kiba snickered, well, my bad, sorry. He cleared his throat and said formally, you can give me his contact and I will ask him to come. We will talk about it and prepare the documents. He won't be able to elude or run away from his responsibility this time. What do you mean? Well, first we will track down his record and his statement. We will put him to have a paternity test if we have to. With that powerful evidence he has to take Haruto into his wing, doesn't matter if he wants it or not. Kiba explained briefly. But I don't want it. Hinata said softly. Kiba asked, afraid that he heard it wrong. Well, if he has to do the paternity test and when Haruto-kun is indeed his son, he has to admit and take Haruto-kun in, that person will feel forced. He won't see Haruto-kun as his son but rather a responsibility, a burden. He won't love Haruto-kun as a human being, as his own. And that is too sad. It won't be fair for Haruto-kun. Hinata finished her speech with a soft whimper. She heard Kiba groaned in frustration after a long silent minute, all right. I got it. We will find his mother and get this all clear, peacefully, okay. Hi. But I want you to do your best to change his mind too, all right. Perhaps you can change his mind as you do to me. Who knows? Hinata nodded despite being alone at her room, I understand. Thanks, Kiba-kun. Don't thank me yet, you idiot. Just make sure he acknowledges the baby sooner. The sooner the better. But Kiba-kun, I think he doesn't lie to me. Hinata mumbled feverishly when she remembered her neighbor told her about his self-relief. What did you say? Kiba replied as he didn't hear it clearly. W-hat. Hinata replied hastily, she just realized what she said unconsciously. She and her stupid mouth. No, nothing, just talking to myself. If you say so. I have to go, My partner and I have an investigation to attend. I will let you know soon after I find something, K. Okay. See you and please be careful, Kiba-kun. Yeah, you too. Bye, Hina. Hinata giggled. Well, what would happen to a very conventional teacher and a several months old baby? Hash hash hash. Hyuga Hinata was looking at the very big problem. Herself. She was a very clumsy and forgetful conventional teacher. She decided to add those new adjective to describe herself. Too useless yet precise definition of a Hyuga Hinata. How could she be so careless, she wondered, but with the small baby to watch and keep safe, she claimed that this too must have happened to someone else in this big world. Yeah, something like forgetting your only key to enter your apartment while your spare key was placed in a small box inside your drawer for safety reasons. Or maybe not. It was just Hinata herself and her clumsiness. And her forgetfulness. And her ironic thinking to keep the room safe but to lock herself out of the safe room. Yeah, very smart. Hinata just went to buy some diapers and things at a nearby market only to realize she left her key at the counter. And now locked out of her room. She tried to call the maintenance man to help her, but he wasn't available till 10 since he had some business out of town. Which meant she had to wait at least 4 hours. She called her cousin's friend but there were no answer. 1010 said about camping in the middle of mountain or so. Kurenai-sensei was having a holiday so it was out of options. Hinata wanted to go to a cafe but it would be too noisy. She decided to stand and wait but the hall was getting cold as the night came. What should I do, Haruto-kun? She said to the sleepy boy. Her arms went stiff and painful after almost 1 hour holding the baby. Hinata wanted to cry very much but that would only make Haruto restless, so she decided to whisper some soft song to the boy. She gave up and sat on the carpeted floor with a big sigh. The petite woman bit her lips. She couldn't go to her cousin since he would ask too many questions and might do something reckless, albeit doing it for Hinata's sake. Kiba was busy, too, and she felt guilty to disturb him more. Her gaze fell to the sturdy door next to her. Well, desperate times call for desperate measures. Hash hash hash. Uchiha Sasuke opened his door sleepily. His hair was messy with big eye bags under his dark eyes. Hinata could see thin layer of unattended mustache. He yawned and scratched his chin. Although wearing only thin white cotton t-shirt and navy baggy short, Uchiha Sasuke still managed to look magnificent. Uchiha-san. Good evening. He replied calmly. I have been wondering if I can stay at your place for several hours, 4 at the max. He yawned. Why? Well, I kinda forgot to bring my key with me when I went to shopping just now and I can't enter my room. He blinked. Call the maintenance man. He answered straightforwardly. He was still a little sore of what he saw that day. He can't make it until 10. Sasuke was looking at her with his unreadable expression. Hinata didn't know what was inside his perfect head, but she was too tired and her arms were too numb to think about trivia things. Seeing his lack of reaction, Hinata knew he was not happy. Can you take Haruto-kun in instead? It's a bit cold out here and I don't want him to catch a cold. Just Haruto-kun, please. The lean-built Uchiha scrutinized his neighbor who looked so tired but tried to appear alright and respectable. In such tiny body was hidden a very strong will. Sasuke opened the door wider and walked back to his room, but he turned around when he felt Hina didn't follow. What are you doing? Just come in. Hi. Hinata stepped into the room and put her paper bags on the hall. The view in front of her made Hinata surprised. Unlike the tidy and clean room she saw that day, her neighbor's room at that moment was an exact picture when a typhoon ran across your place. There were papers scattered around the floor, table, some even on the sofa. The area of the table where wasn't occupied by the papers was filled with laptop, cups, instant noodles cup and wrecked papers. Hinata didn't know where to put her feet on. Sasuke brushed the papers on the sofa and kicked away some to under the table. She put Haruto on the sofa and used some pillows to keep him safe from rolling out of the sofa. Well, he won't wake up in at least 2 hours, you can call me when he does. She stepped aside. Where are you going? Sasuke asked with a frown. I'm going to wait outside. Hinata pointed to the door. Sasuke sighed, you can stay. But I thought. Just stay. I don't know how to tend a baby, this small much less. Having you next to him might be a better option, and it's warmer here. It's worse if you catch the cold. Well, Haruto-kun has his father. Hinata shifted her gaze to the floor. I'm not. Sasuke replied. But you just let us in. That is different. That baby is not mine, so you better find his real father fast. He snapped mildly. But he is definitely yours. Hinata insisted in soft mumbled. Fine. Go, stay. Whatever. Don't disturb me, I have just finished my works and I need my sleep. You can leave whenever you want. He sounded irritated and disappeared into a room which Hinata presumed is his bedroom. Hinata sighed. His mood was very bad, it seemed. She collected some papers and sat down on the floor. 2 hours later Haruto woke up as Hinata predicted and he definitely needed his meal, so Hinata stepped into the open kitchen and prepared Haruto's milk as quiet as she could. She would explain to the apartment's owner when he was awake. You are a good boy, Haruto-kun. Hinata praised the baby and he replied with a happy giggle. The bluish-haired woman brought the boy to her arms and patted his back to let him burp. There. How are you, my little prince? Did you have a good sleep? She cooed. Haruto mumbled and looked around the room. He clearly knew it wasn't Hinata's as he mumbled and swinging his hand to a wall filled with pictures. Hinata stood and brought the baby to the said wall. Can you find daddy? Haruto responded. Yeah, you can see daddy, right? Hinata nodded and looked at one picture of many young men of Uchiha. There were also the blondes she saw that night and a silver-haired man who wore mask to cover lower half of his face. Mum. Haruto mumbled again. His mouth moved up and down while looking at the photo, then Hinata. It would be nice if your mommy is inside the photo too, nay. Hinata giggled at her silliness. Hinata then moved to see the next pictures only to realize it was almost 8:30 and there was no sign from the owner to wake up soon, so she decided to make some dinner to thank the owner. Let's make some delicious food for Uchiha-san, nay, Uchiha-kun. She made some onigiri and salad happily while Haruto was sleeping on the counter, safe from any hazardous materials of course. Hinata had checked his refrigerator only to found half of it filled with tomato juice and fresh tomatoes. His cabinet was no better, he stocked only canned tomatoes and tomato sauce. Hinata wondered how this man could stay alive with such low nutrition. Is that why he has such good and radiant skin? She mumbled. What is that? A deep voice responded. Hinata yelped and an onigiri she was making slipped out of her hands and caught by Sasuke smoothly. You are startling me. Sasuke scratched his stomach. His well-toned abs were a feast to Hinata's eyes. The man plainly didn't intend to clean or improve his messy appearance, but he still looked as good as the models on the catwalk. She shook her head and pushed a plate filled with onigiri. I used some hot water and your utensils just now and I make some dinner for you to thank you. I'm sorry for intruding. She bowed. He sat and ate the onigiri he caught just now. How is it? Hinata asked timidly. Consumable. He answered flatly. Hinata was amused since her foods were praised highly, especially by Kiba and her Ni-san. Hearing Uchiha Sasuke's short answer was a new thing for her and that made her heart tingling and happy. It was so strange. Why don't you eat, too? Have some just now. She blushed and went back to cradle the baby. Sorry for the wait. She brought the giggling baby to the living room but still visible from Sasuke's position. Sasuke ate his actually very delicious dinner and watched his guests' interactions silently. The raven-haired man observed the woman carefully. She was lovely, although not as stunning or mesmerizing as Sakura or Ino were, but still lovely. Hinata's beauty was pure, delicate, pleasant and classy. Hinata's movements were also very elegant and her visage was cute, adorable and everything between those, especially her ever-present blush on those fluffy cheeks. Sasuke thought Hinata was a bit weird, in a good way, as she willingly took in a stranger's child which clearly wasn't her into her arms and protected him. Had it been another woman, namely Sakura, she would have gone crazy taking care of the baby between her packed schedule. Both Naruto and him would hear endless screaming of her. Yet, here was Hinata, asking for help from her barely new neighbor who could be a bad guy, just so her baby was alright. "It's your job cleaning up this room, I suppose," Sasuke said when he stepped into his clean and organized living room. There was big trash bag at the corner of the room. I just felt uneasy being here doing nothing to help. I stack the papers based on the year and diagrams and then the other is what I think unused but perhaps you can check it before throwing it away." She pointed to stacks of paper. I will later." He sat at the sofa. "Do you want to hold him?" Hinata asked from the floor across him. Sasuke looked at the boy stoically while Haruto looked at the man with his innocent round eyes. "No, thanks. But he needs his father," Hinata interjected. "Which isn't me," Sasuke replied. "Fine." Hinata huffed. "Good." Sasuke smirked. And Haruto laughed. Hinata smiled solemnly. "Perhaps I should believe in you. Haruto is too cute and joyful to be yours." "Are you telling me that I'm bitter and sorrowful?" Sasuke raised his brows, teasing the lavender eyes woman. Eep. Hinata clearly didn't realize that she said her thought out loud. Sasuke extended his hands to the baby. "Give him to me. I will show you what joyful is." And Uchiha Sasuke did. He played with the boy childishly and warmly. Haruto never had such loud laugh whenever he was with Hinata, which was sad. Gone was the moody and bad-mannered Uchiha Sasuke. The man who played with the baby was as silly yet still charismatic as ever. Hinata suspected the moody part was thanks to the workload. Uchiha Sasuke was a good man, albeit sometimes thorny here and there. Besides, a baby wouldn't be so ease and relax in a cold-hearted guy arms, right? "Uchiha-san. Sasuke." He corrected. "Sasuke-san." Sasuke rolled his eyes but responded with a short, "HN." "Last time. You said that you would remember every girl's you." When Sasuke smirked and got what Hinata was trying to say, "You mean the girls who I foo. I really appreciate it, you stop it there." Hinata cut hastily. "There is a baby here." Sasuke's smirk didn't disappear though. "So what? He doesn't understand. I prefer he doesn't know as long as I can help it." "Well, I just want to ask whether you forget about Haruto's mom by accident." "Impossible." Sasuke answered with a short snort and Haruto laughed. He must be thinking that Sasuke is playing with him. "Why? You could be drunk tea that time." Sasuke hummed. "You have seen my job, there's no time to drink. My clients will go berserk knowing their business is run by a drunkard." That's true. How old is this boy?" He pushed his forefinger into Haruto's fluffy cheek. The said baby was smiling and swaying his limbs energetically. "Kurenai-sensei told me he was about 5 or 6 months, in her opinion." The Uchiha made a quick calculation in his brain. "So, he was born in spring, which means it's about summer when he was conceived." He closed his eyes and frowned. "I wasn't here that time. I was out of the town, working. You can see it yourself." He handed a rectangular schedule notebook he took from the cabinet next to him to Hinata. The said woman bit her lips when she read the carelessly written notebook. It was filled with packed and tight timetable. "Yeah, last year was a bad year, but fortunately Sasuke bastard helped us. It was a nightmare. Our shares dropped drastically, lost the stakeholders and lost our market. Tem and I worked for weeks, we barely slept let alone took bath. You should have come and see how stupid he looked, he even didn't go to a date that," and Sasuke disconnected the line to Naruto. Perhaps it wasn't a good decision to call his stupid friend to confirm his words. Naruto wasn't well known by his gratefulness. He took the phone and dialed another number and Hinata waited nervously. Fortunately Haruto had gone back to her arms to calm her down. Yes, I remember it. That time was very hectic. I quite regret it for not be able to help you guys, but we were short-handed at the hospital, too. Ah, I heard from Naruto you even went to survey the market after 3 sleepless nights like a zombie. He laughed about your appearance and remember that I found you fell down on the road with your face. Sasuke disconnected the call with a low hiss, those guys will be dead. And only then Hinata realized that Uchiha Sasuke wasn't Haruto's dad. But, then who? Hash hash hash. Her hours with the raven-haired man was come to end. The maintenance man called her a little an hour later. Sasuke followed Hinata waiting at the hallway as the maintenance man finished his job in less than 15 minutes. Hinata felt a bit sad since they would be apart. The stoic man was helping Hinata bringing her shopping bag on one arm and Haruto in the other one and still look like a handsome model. Your son is awfully look like your husband, you should try a daughter too. I bet she will be a pretty girl like his mommy, no? The man tidied up his instruments. Sasuke just chuckled while Hinata blushed darkly. No. We aren't. She stammered, denied and blushing at the same time. We will try harder. He smirked and bumped Hinata's shoulder playfully. Hinata was very grateful that she was older, stronger although none wiser, so she didn't fade out by such lecherous comment. The maintenance man laughed and excused himself politely. Hinata opened the door and went to check her key, and indeed she forgot her key as Sasuke stepped in her apartment. You shouldn't forget it next time. Hi. Sorry. Hinata bit her lips and took the sleepy Haruto from Sasuke. Haruto mumbled again and blinked, trying to stay awake. You should sleep now, it has passed your sleeping time. Sasuke messed his dark hair then went to the door. Hinata put the baby on the bed and ran to the door. Anyo. Sasuke, who stood on the cold foyer, turned around. Thank you for today, she said softly. Her eyes didn't meet his. Sasuke looked at his neighbor. At that position he was still a bit taller than Hinata. He stretched out his hand and moved closer to her, closer and closer that his face was several centimeters from Hinata. What is he going to do? Oh my. The Hyuga was holding her breath, too scared to move, and her eyes were closed automatically. Hinata opened her eyes as he pinched her left cheek. Oh. He smirked and went away. Hinata touched her cheek. It was hot, not because of the weather or embarrassment. Her heart was also beating fast, not because of nervousness or anxiety. It was something new for her. It was the first time for her. This big enough, Kurenai said to Hinata, who was busy cutting some fruits. Hi, thank you, Kurenai-san. She smiled to the older woman. Geez, ever so polite. The older woman replied while placing the blue ceramic bowl next to Hinata. The said young woman smiled and put the neatly cut fruits into the bowl. There, done, she said. I'll help you to bring it to the living room. Kurenai's daughter, Mirai, said from next to the counter. Thank you, Mirai-chan. Hinata said to the 8-year-old girl. Hinata-sensei, can I give some to Haruto-kun? Hinata nodded. Sure, use this to give him in small bites, okay. She handed over a plastic spoon she usually used to feed Haruto. Okay. It's nice meeting and chatting with you outside of the school. Too bad Asuma is busy with his editor. He really would love to come and play with Haruto-kun, but you know him. Hinata shifted from the counter and arranged foods she had prepared earlier on a tray. Me, too. I'm happy you can come to spend your time with us. We are in the middle of summer holiday, but I have no will to bring him out under such strong weather, and I'm afraid Haruto-kun will feel bored playing alone. Nonsense. He will never be bored. You can call us, then we can spend all day long together. Mirai is really fond of the little baby, too. Kurenai took another tray and arranged big jar filled with cold green tea and empty glasses. Thank you, Kurenai-san. They went to the living room where Mirai fed Haruto grounded apple and the baby nodded happily when the girl asked whether he liked the fruit. Hinata left her guests and the baby when she heard her doorbell rang. Hi, Hina. I have just read your message. I'm not too late, aren't I? Kiba grinned to her. Of course not, Kiba-kun. Come in, please. We haven't started yet. She stepped back allowed the tan-skinned man entered her apartment. Here, I bring some pudding and ice cream for the brats. He handed a bag filled with the desserts while changing his loafers into lavender flippers. Thank you, Kiba-kun. Nah, it should be me who thanks you. I haven't had some proper meals and oh. Look who it is. He laughed. Uncle Kiba. Mirai called happily. Haruto turned his small head to see the man better. The detective draped his jacket on Hinata's sofa and sat on it casually. Man, you are still a squirt, huh? Do you eat properly? What are you eating, baby boy? He touched Haruto's head gently. That rude, Kibaka. I won't believe in you. Daddy says not to grow so fast. She stuck out her tongue to the man. Yeah, your daddy is a daughter fool. And you are a big bad bear. Mirai replied. Ha, is that all you can think of me? He laughed. Haruto grinned and laughed as he thought the detective was saying something funny. Are you sure we have one baby here since I think I see 3 babies here? Kurenai said with a sigh. Hinata giggled. 2 babies and 1 oversized baby. Right, now give this oversized baby his foods. Kiba replied lightly. It was their routine bantering and Hinata enjoyed it very much. Their lunch ended quickly. God, Hinata. I can't move at all, you should take responsibility. Kiba flopped on the long sofa and groaned satisfyingly. What a glutton. Mirai commented dryly. You will know how I feel when you are a grown-up, brat. Kiba replied in his sleepy voice. Here, drink your tea. Kurenai said to her daughter. Haruto was sitting on Hinata's laps, chewing his new toys Kurenai brought that morning. Any news about Haruto-kun's mother? Kurenai placed another glass on the table to Hinata then one for Kiba. Nah, we capture her silhouette. She wore a hoodie, cap and mask. Definitely knows what she does. We have got the bus plate, though. I hope we can track down the CCTV about where she lives soon. Oh, I see. Hinata looked at the plump baby. Haruto-kun saw Hinata and offered his toy to her. No, you can keep it, Haruto-kun. She said and snuggled on the baby. Haruto giggled by Hinata's action. Don't worry Hina, we will find her. Kiba assured. Taking Hinata's spiritless answer as a disappointment that they couldn't find the mother yet. However, it was quite the opposite. Hinata was too attached to Haruto that she wished a very bad thing secretly, that they wouldn't find her, that she didn't want Haruto anymore so Hinata could have Haruto for herself from now on. What a bad person she was. Yeah. Sasuke groaned when he heard his phone rang. He had just gone to sleep at 8 in the morning and now at what? 10 o'clock, someone decided it was a great thing to call. He barely had his sleep so the person would receive his wrath in full force. Sasuke placed the phone on his ear, half sleeping. HN. He answered without looking at the number. Sasuke. A feminine voice said in enthusiasm. Mother. One and only person in the world who he couldn't tell to off. What is it, Sasuke? You don't sound so good. Are you sick? No, I had long night. Who was the pretty girl? What girl? His mind wandered to his pretty neighbor immediately. His mother wouldn't know about her, would she? She isn't my girl. The one who kept you up last night. They said it at the same time. Oh my, so there is a girl. You should bring her with you to our summer family gathering this afternoon. Sasuke groaned and cursed his stupid mouth and lack of sleep brain. What gathering? He tried to change the subject. Don't tell me you forgot about it. I have told you since the early of the summer, haven't I? He could imagine his mother's famous pout which no one could resist, especially his father. It's today. He peeled open one eye and looked at the table calendar he placed on his nightstand. Uh-huh. His mother sang out her answer. Do I have to come? Sasuke was trying his luck, really. What do you think? Makoto replied with the same tone. How about Itachi? He shifted and placed his chin on the pillow and mumbled sleepily. Seriously, it wouldn't change much if he didn't attend the gathering once. I'm helping mother with her cookies, little brother. Itachi answered for his mother. Sasuke groaned inwardly. His ever so busy brother bothered to attend the gathering, which meant he had no choice. I understand, I will be late, but I will make it up to you. That's great. You can bring your girlfriend too, darling. Sasuke grumbled. I don't have any. I had to finish 2 proposals and a new project briefing last night, so I barely had a sleep. Poor boy. Do you need Itachi to pick you up? Driving with some sleep deprivation wasn't a good way to spend your summer, it might become your last summer instead. He will go in an hour, darling. After finishing my cookies, definitely. Alright, see you soon. Sasuke slumped down to his pillow again. He still had 3 hours to sleep before his brother's arrival. Their summer house was far at the suburban and it took 2 hours to get here. Finally, some sleep, he mumbled. By the time he was ready, it was a little after 2. His brother had a good way to annoy and wake him up even without him trying to. They stepped out of his apartment at the same time with a man from Hinata's room. Thanks again, Hina. I will make sure that everything works out immediately. Hinata nodded. Here, I have leftovers and onigiri packed for you, Kiba-kun. I have put it in small portions so you can eat it without dirtying your clothes. Wow. Thanks, Hinata. I do wait for it. I hope we don't gloat over your food supply, though. He grinned sheepishly. Hinata giggled. Don't worry about it, Kiba-kun. I invited you guys since you help us a lot. Don't sweat over it. Kiba took Hinata's offering. If you say so, I will do my best to find her, Hina. He assured. Hinata smiled brightly. Thank you, Kiba-kun. They hugged. Say my goodbye to my little boy, will ya? Hina giggled. Of course. Kiba disappeared into the elevator with a big smile. Sasuke, who watched the whole thing, was irritated. The stranger was the same one who he saw that day, and what with the overly friendly and touching gesture. Besides, Haruto was clearly an Uchiha, not a puppy like that stranger. What? Uchiha-san. Hinata greeted politely when she saw Sasuke and Itachi. Who was he? He asked automatically, then cursing inwardly when he realized his sudden question. Impatience. My friend Kiba-kun, he is a detective and I asked him to help me to find Haruto-kun's mother. But it has been weeks. What a great detective. Sasuke commented smugly. Hinata blinked. He is being careful and he has his own works, Uchiha-san. Everyone does. She answered without stuttered. Sasuke shrugged. Well, good luck then. Would you introduce us, little brother? Itachi decided to talk when Sasuke started to walk away. Sasuke narrowed his eyes in suspicion. Do I have to? Itachi smiled and introduced himself as he knew his little brother wouldn't do anything. I'm Uchiha Itachi, Sasuke's big brother. Nice to meet you, young miss. Hinata didn't take Itachi's hand but rather inspect Itachi's face. No, he wasn't the one. Despite having black hair and onyx eyes, their features were a bit different. Is there something on my face? Hinata was surprised that she stared at the man impolitely. No. It's just. I'm Hyuga Hinata. Nice to meet you too, Uchiha-san. She shook his hand and bowed politely. Come on Itachi. We are late, mother will be angry with us. He pulled Itachi's hand away from Hinata's. And whose fault do you think? Itachi smiled. Itachi then learned that his little brother was having a bad mood. Was it related to the feminine beauty? Perhaps his mother's instinct about Sasuke being in love was right. That was a big mystery he would love to solve immediately. Well then, Hyuga-san. Itachi said and followed his suddenly turned very hurried brother. She is pretty, isn't she? Itachi said nonchalantly when they were alone in the elevator. Sasuke sighed. No, perhaps you can arrange a small dinner for us. Itachi pushed a bit. Sasuke scoffed. No way. She is off of the limit. Why? You said she wasn't pretty. She isn't, but she isn't yours too. And then he stepped out of the small elevator, leaving his brother alone. Itachi chuckled. His little brother was a very possessive man. The grocery store was crowded as usual. Hinata decided to go for a walk to chase away her boredom. Let's buy some fruits, shall we? Hinata said to the baby in her arms. What do you want to eat, Haruto-kun? She patted his back softly. Perhaps some mangoes. They walked at the fruits aisle. Hinata picked the fruit happily together with the baby. Just when she stepped aside, she hit another person at her behind. Oh, my god, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. Hinata bowed. The person, a woman in her mid-20s, giggled. Her shoulder-length brown hair shook as she did. No, it's okay. Your baby is very cute. I can't help but to stare. She brushed off Hinata's apologize lightly. Hinata smiled when she heard the woman's praise on Haruto. Yes, Haruto-kun is very cute, aren't you? She cooed to the baby and Haruto laughed. Yeah, he is very pretty for a baby boy. Is he yours? She took Haruto's small fist and waggled tenderly. You are so cute. No, he is not mine. There are some circumstances and now he lives with me. The stranger's brown eyes looked at them in surprise. Oh, I thought he was yours since you both look so close. She stared the boy as the baby did to her. No, it's not. It's just Haruto-kun is a good boy and he can befriend anyone. Right, Haruto-kun. Haruto laughed. Ah, but you both look great and resemble family more than other families I have ever met. She smiled, but in Hinata's eyes, her laugh was somewhat sad. Anyo. Then a ringing tone cut her words. Excuse me for a while. She smiled and answered the phone. Hello. Okay. Sorry. I know. She disconnected her phone. I'm sorry. I got to go now. Bye bye, Haruto-kun. She greeted Hinata goodbye and disappeared amongst the crowd. Hinata couldn't get rid of that person's sad face from her own mind. Sasuke stretched his limbs when they arrived the big mansion. Being in the small car his mother lent his brother for hours wasn't a good experience. They even had to stop by places to buy things his mother forgot to buy, and they were important, so they had to buy them no matter what. Yeah, if you meant a specific brand of ramen and some sleeping bags together with large sum of fruits were important, especially the ramen. He could guess who gave the stupid idea. They stepped into the living room. Sasuke brought the sleeping bags on one hand and a large paper bag filled with ramen on another hand, while his brother was responsible bringing in the fruits. Oi, Tem, you have arrived. The stupid and annoying blonde greeted enthusiastically. His mother didn't go halfway in arranging her small gathering. Wow, ramen, he yelled happily, and his playful tone irked Sasuke's mood. The raven-haired man threw the whole paper bag to Naruto's direction when the blonde ran to take the bag. Ouch! What was that for, Tem? He groaned painfully on the floor. Sasuke didn't pay any heed and stomped on his stomach when he walked past by. You deserve it, Dobi. Naruto. What happened? Sakura appeared from the kitchen. Sasuke-kun, you have arrived. She smiled and ran toward the blonde on the floor in rush when she saw the disaster behind Sasuke. Naruto. What happened? Sasuke left them and continued his journey to find his mother. Almost all of Uchiha had arrived and called him. Sasuke grunted his answer but didn't stop to talk. Era. You have arrived. Where is Itachi? Makoto asked. Sasuke put the sleeping bags on the floor next to the wall. Bringing in the fruits. Are we going to open a fruit stall or what? I literally dragged those bags out of the store. Makoto giggled hearing her son's gruff answer. There are tons of people this time and I don't want them to starve, she said to Sasuke's cousins to help Itachi. As if. And what with the ramen? It's Naruto's stupid request, right? His mother's giggle answered his questions. The dinner his mother arranged was a big success. There weren't only the Uchiha family but also the Namikaze family, a business partner for generations, extended family and close friends, Hitaki, Kakashi and Sakura. Naruto flopped next to Sasuke on the sofa after the dinner. The family went scattered around the big mansion. Sakura took a small stool and sat next to them. Geez, you and your bad moods. Why did you call me and turned it off so suddenly days ago? Naruto asked cheerfully. Sakura nodded despite frowning. That's right, Sasuke-kun. What's wrong? Can we help you? She said out of concern. Sasuke scoffed and didn't answer. He didn't want to remember why he called on the first place, but it seemed like Naruto had another opinion. Talking about help, what about the beauty lady? When are you going to bring her here? He asked curiously. His grin was so disgusting, just like his teacher. Sasuke wondered why Naruto turned more and more similar to his perverted teacher than his proper and gentle father. What lady? Itachi asked from behind the sofa Sasuke and Naruto were sitting on. What lady, little brother? He placed his hands on the sofa soft headrest, hovering above Sasuke's head, asking again when he heard no answer from Sasuke. The lady with Ba, Naruto said, but Sasuke was quicker. He smacked Naruto on his head. The blonde grunting in pain and Sakura went to help him immediately. Sasuke-kun, that's too much. Yeah, it hurts, damn you. Itachi looked at them in confusion. What is it? You won't tell me. It's no one business. Sasuke answered shortly. It was not like he didn't want to tell his brother, but Hinata and Haruto were in a difficult place. He didn't want to put his neighbor under the spotlight until he was sure whose baby it was. Hinata was quite in a trouble taking care of the baby, and it would worry her more if his family barged into her life. And what about the lady? Itachi asked again. Nothing. It's Naruto being stupid as usual. What? You call me as a MBBPH? Sasuke threw another pillow at the blonde. Shut up. Naruto grabbed the pillow and scratched his nape awkwardly. Nah, it's nothing. It seems like I remember it wrong. Sasuke nodded while Sakura rolled her eyes. Boys. Itachi kept his opinion to himself. Sasuke would tell him when he was ready. Like any other gathering, the older generation of Uchiha would hang out at the main living room where lots of chairs were provided, talking about business and worlds, while the younger generation would gather on the recreation area, playing or merely talking. Uchiha Hisui leaned on a billiard pool and launched his attack. Across of him was Uchiha Obito, who laughed when Hisui failed his attack. It's my turn, Obito announced proudly. Sasuke, Naruto, Itachi and Kakashi, Obito's closest friend, were sitting circling a big round table, playing poker. It wasn't very good actually, since all the Uchiha plus Kakashi were great in hiding their emotions, so except Naruto, everyone was very hard to read. Damn it, it's me again. Naruto groaned loudly. Sasuke threw his cards. You have to shuffle it again, and this time you owe me a new set of computer and professional audio equipment. He smirked. Ah, it's not like you will use it anyway. You are working all the time, so what use of them? Naruto replied seriously. Oh, don't tell me you are going to use it to watch porn, huh? He commented with a grin. Of course. I will decide how to use it, you. He threw an apple to Naruto, which was caught easily by the blonde. Yeah, besides you can't use it since you have that Hinata as your neighbor, huh? What is or who is Hinata? Obito asked from his position. No one. Sasuke answered shortly. Yet Itachi decided to join the conversation. If I remember it correctly, she is Sasuke's neighbor. I met her this afternoon. Obito grinned. Really? How is she? Pretty. Hot. Your turn. Hisui said flatly. Oh, yeah. He bent down to see his target. She is. Itachi tried to find a correct adjective. Lovely. Obito whistled. I never thought you have such neighbor last year. Ah, damn. He cursed when he lost his target. Hisui went back to the game. And that reminds me, where are you going to leave again? As I remember, You are very busy at this time in 1 year. Just like last year? Obito asked randomly. Yeah, this Tem works like crazy and takes any projects he is offered. Sakura-chan disapproves his work time and I am the one she beats every time she knows. Naruto replied. It's the beats of love. Kakashi said while his eyes didn't leave his porn. Ma, you could say it so. Naruto grinned. The pink-haired woman wasn't there to beat her boyfriend since there was an emergency at her hospital, so she left early. So, this time you won't be at home, too, Sasuke? Obito asked a bit too eagerly. Perhaps. His schedule wasn't fixed yet since he hadn't decided which proposal to go. Then lend it to me again this year, okay? Obito asked while laughing. I really like your apartment, it's a best place to show off to the girls. I had a very memorable experience at your house at last summer. The girls went crazy knowing it's your place. Sasuke went silent. What? You have some nerve to say that, what if Rin hears about it? Kakashi placed his porn and looked at his best friend seriously. Like I care about that woman. She was the first one I brought there and we had those fantastic moments. I thought we were meant to be, but she disappeared after 1 month. I couldn't reach for her. He shrugged. You are dumped, Itachi said nonchalantly. Definitely dumped. Perhaps it relates to your tools. Hisui commented dryly. You jerk. My tools is fine and fantastic, the other girls told me so. He laughed, so did Naruto and Hisui. Kakashi rolled his eyes, clearly didn't agree with Obito's words. It was only Itachi who realized Sasuke's rigid stance. What's wrong, little brother? Sasuke went to his stupid cousin. You, he exclaimed loudly while grabbing Obito's collar. Hisui moved quickly to separate them. Calm down, Sasuke. He knows what he does. Naruto, who stood behind Sasuke, was holding one of his arms cautiously. Yeah, Tem. That's right. You don't need to worry. I cleaned up your apartment and refilled your fridge as a gratitude. I just need a roof to sleep. I am fine with you using my apartment only for sleeping. Sasuke hissed darkly. Little brother, Itachi said in concern. All of them thought Sasuke was mad because of Obito's illicit activities in his apartment, yet it wasn't. I'm fine with you and your stupid and useless activities. If you were playing around safely, I wouldn't mind. Sasuke said and then added darkly, how could an irresponsible man like you sire a baby? Hisui staggered back. Kakashi looked at Obito. Naruto's hand on Sasuke was gone. Itachi, just like the other, was standing silently, too confused and too surprised to talk. What? Obito asked dumbfoundedly. Sasuke grabbed his cousin's collar once again, but this time tighter. You have some explaining to do. Hinata marched to her door while drying her wet hands. Assuming it was Kiba, he sometimes dropped by to have lunch with her, so she trailed to her door and opened it calmly. What is it, Kiba? Yet the person or people who stood in front of her door weren't Kiba at all. She had never saw so much black hair and onyx eyes in her life, so she thought she might have a culture shock. Sasuke was standing silently there together with a man she met at the day prior, his brother, she remembered. In the group of 4 strangers, 2 were women. The first woman was the splitting image of Sasuke, although in opposite gender, and of course lovely smile which Sasuke never showed, while the other one was older with her silver hair yet kind smile. The rest were men. One was a stern-faced man who no older than her own father. While the last man was a young man with dark black spiked hair. He looked so tired and wretched, as if he had just got landed on the earth after being thrown all around the world in a light speed, beaten up and drowned into the deep sea before dragged back to the ground. Sasuke stepped up and announced their arrival. Hinata looked at him and his handsome face. We want to meet the baby. She knew it. They wanted Haruto. Her clouded mind and fast-beating heart weren't working in harmony at all. Sasuke's voice seemed to come from a faraway land and she had to process it so difficultly, but finally her body moved. She stepped aside to let her guests to enter her room. He is inside, she replied softly. They went to the living room at the end of the hall. Hinata felt her apartment shrunken significantly when the Uchihas set their feet in her room. I'm sorry for intruding your place so suddenly, sweetheart. The younger woman of the two said warmly. Hinata nodded and blushed furiously when she heard how the woman called her. Sasuke smirked when he saw Hinata's blush. He knew what was inside her pretty head. It's okay. Hinata replied. Perhaps you should introduce us first, Sasuke-kun. The elderly woman said. My father, Uchiha Fugaku. He said, indicating the old man. Hinata bowed and introduced herself while the stoic man just nodded in acknowledgement. My mother. My name is Uchiha Makoto. She smiled to Hinata and the Hyuga bowed politely. That stupid man over there is Uchiha Obito. Which gained him a smack from his mother, but Sasuke ignored it. And his grandmother. Sasuke explained shortly. It's the most unimpressive and short introduction I have ever seen, brother. The man with long hair tied on his nape said lightly. And you know him, my useless brother. Sasuke ended nonchalantly. Sasuke. Makoto warned. What? He replied in bored tone. Please, behaved. Makoto smiled at Hinata awkwardly. I'm sorry, Hinata-chan. Is that okay for me to call you that? Hinata nodded. Her mother had passed away a long time ago and she had never heard a motherly voice calling her name. She missed it so much. Makoto beamed with happiness. I swear I teach them to be polite even when they were a baby, but something was wrong with my method, it seemed. I don't know where his attitude comes from. She sighed in the end, although all of them could see she was trying to be modest. The older he gets, the more rude he is. He is just alienated, perhaps. We almost believe he got accidentally swapped when he was a baby for being so rude and cold. All of Uchiha are warm and friendly people, I swear. We wonder where he gets his uniqueness. Sasuke's brother kindly explained to her. As if. Sasuke snorted. Too bad he is clearly an Uchiha, nay. Obito's grandmother added with a soft laugh, followed by Makoto, while Itachi just chuckled. Hinata thought Sasuke was the exact example mixture of his mother and father. He had her mother's features while his father's cool demeanor. Also, he was not that rude or cold. Sasuke was just being, well, himself. She didn't see it as a problem, though. However, all of her guests amazed her. They had such mysterious and undeniably beautiful complexions which you couldn't find in any ordinary person, especially the young male species. Last night my son dropped a bombshell and surprised us. The Uchiha patriarch said suddenly. Apparently, one of the young men in our family decides to have fun way too much and forgets that his actions can cause serious problem. His gaze was placed on the man, who said nothing at all since Hinata saw him. Darling. Makoto warned. He paid her warning and continued, I will appreciate it if you can show us the truth to bring us out of the dark, young miss. Hinata nodded. I understand. Please sit down. I will bring him. He should be awakened at this moment, she said nervously and disappeared into her bedroom. Uchiha Fugaku took the liberty to sit on head of the sofa, like he usually did at home. Itachi, Makoto and Obito's grandmother sat on the long sofa. Obito stood awkwardly in the middle of the room while Sasuke stood next to the window, clearly was very comfortable there. I can't believe we have to be in this situation. Fugaku frowned, but his voice was stern. It can't be helped, right? Makoto answered. Oh, I can't wait to see the baby. It's been a long time since we have baby around us to be spoiled. That's right, nay, Obito's grandmother added. When are you going to give us more babies, Itachi-kun? Itachi just smiled. Not so fast, I suppose. With Obito's baby, I am spared for several years ahead. But you are not that young anymore, Itachi-kun. The elderly woman said. That's right. Your father and I already have you, and Sasuke was on his way to meet us when we were at your age. Makoto agreed wholeheartedly. Is that so? Itachi asked, looked surprised although he had heard his mother's share of thoughts for years. Too bad, Mother, since you have to wait more patiently for me to give you that. Hopefully I still have my black hair at that time. I want to be a young grandmother, you know, she teased. You are beautiful no matter how you change, mother. Itachi said honestly. My, Itachi-kun is a sweet boy. Obito's grandmother patted his shoulder. But, still, Makoto insisted. Well, if you want to be a young grandmother, perhaps you should press on little brother more. Itachi answered wisely. What? Sasuke raised his brows when everyone's attention shifted to him. Even Obito looked at him in shock. Makoto's eyes blinked, her smile appeared fast. Oh. That's right. You talked about a girl last time I called you. Who is she? Do I know her? Are you going to bring her home? Are we going to meet her soon? Sasuke pretended to be deaf from his mother's long list of questions. I can't wait to meet her myself. You should introduce her to us too, Sasuke-kun. Obito's grandmother added. You have met her, mother. Itachi answered for his brother. That made not only Makoto's attention but also Fugaku's to him while Sasuke was glaring darkly to his brother. That's the first time I heard about this. And that came from Sasuke's father. Damn Itachi and his loose mouth. Hash hash hash. Ohio. Haruto-kun. Hinata said when she entered her bedroom. The small baby was busy attacking and chewing his left foot when she entered and blinked to her. What are you doing? She sat and touched his plump cheek. Your family has come to take you home, little prince. Haruto let his covered foot away and blinked at Hinata innocently. You must be very happy, nay. She whispered lowly, I will miss you badly, though. At the end of her sentence she bent down to kiss his forehead softly. Haruto mumbled and grabbed Hinata's long hair energetically. He laughed when Hinata gave him another kiss. The little baby didn't understand her sadness at that point. I will miss you, Haruto-kun. And she hugged the baby tightly. Hinata pulled the baby out of the bed carefully and cradled him in her arms desperately. I will miss you. I love you, oh, how I love you, my little prince. She said in stutter, her heart wasn't prepared to separate from the little baby. Haruto giggled at her warm hug. Why are you laughing, She cooed and he laughed louder. What is so funny, What funny? Funny. She cooed and nuzzled his nose to her. They fell into a laughing fit. That's right, we can still meet. If they are as good as Sasuke-san, then I can still meet you. Hinata assured herself. Although, I don't want you to go. She hugged the baby again. Yet she didn't have much time. Let's go. Your family need you more than I am. Hinata tried to reason. When Hinata stepped back to her living room, her guests stopped talking altogether. Makoto and the older woman giggled. Itachi looked satisfied. The silent man looked somewhat amused while Sasuke looked as if he was going to kill someone. Oh my, what a cute baby. Makoto decided to cut the silence. Her arms stretched immediately when she saw Haruto. What's your name, baby boo? She cooed expertly. It's Haruto-kun. Hinata answered politely. A baby boy, very cute and handsome, too. She smiled solemnly. Uchiha Haruto-kun, I like it. She smiled at Hinata. So do I. The gray-haired woman scooted closer and played with Haruto's small hand. They clearly were bewitched by the little baby. Looking at how comfortable Haruto in Makoto's arm, Hinata decided to excuse herself to get some refreshments for her guests and also giving them a private family time. You've already known who the father is, I presume. Sasuke's voice startled her and she almost dropped her glass if only he didn't catch it immediately. Hinata nodded by his question. She could see similarity of Haruto and his father, the only one who didn't say anything since the start. He must be very flabbergasted by the sudden truth. How did you find him? She poured cold tea to the glasses. Sasuke shrugged and answered while playing with her crystal tea set. Sasuke helped Hinata to organize her cookies and small eclairs with green tea cream filling she made the day before. His hands moved automatically without being told. Not that difficult. From all of the Uchihas, He is a bit more like an idiot. There must be something wrong with his brain. They look natural in Hinata's small kitchen. Not only his brain, he has some problems with his little fellow, too. He added with a smirk in the end. Hinata blinked before blushed when she understood his meaning. That's not nice, Sasuke-san. He is lucky he gets Haruto as his son, or else. Sasuke snorted and brought the tray full of heavy glasses of tea easily, leaving Hinata with the smaller and lighter one. She had to stop when he saw Haruto in his father's arms, who sat on the sofa at the moment. Both of them were observing and studying each other deeply. Hinata could see it, the same expression and traits of the man in Haruto, although Haruto had them gentler. It was a stunning yet emotional moment at the same time. Haruto, who had only met Sasuke, was fascinated with his own father, while Haruto's father was awed by the baby existence which he never knew or thought he would have. How do you feel, Obito? His grandmother asked kindly. Her soft expression made her look younger than she's supposed to be. It's incredible, interesting, shocking, and unimaginable altogether. I can't believe it, he answered without shifting his gaze from the baby. Given your unawareness of him these several months, it's understandable. Itachi said nonchalantly. Still, it's not a reason to be so irresponsible. You fail as an Uchiha member. Sasuke's father remarked. Darling. Makoto hushed him. I know. I have never intended to. He replied calmly. Never have imagined that. Fugaku sighed. We have come to this far, so I expect you to be responsible. As your uncle, I will make sure you do. Obito nodded. He grinned at the baby, which made Haruto giggled as a response. Haruto-kun knows you love him, nay. Makoto commented happily. Yeah, I can see it. Sasuke replied dryly. You won't believe how I feel, cousin. Sure, I am not the one who is arranging wild summer slumber party involves women in swimsuit at my cousin's house. I definitely don't understand how you feel. Fugaku's face turned red, not because of embarrassment but more likely rage. Makoto and Itachi just shook their head in amusement. Obito. Yet it was his grandmother who scolded the new father sternly. I don't remember raising you to be an insolent and wild man. You never know how difficult your mother tried to have you. Her chin-length hair swayed as she talked. Yeah, I second that. I have my kids on my stomach for long time. Long enough to break my feet. Makoto sighed. Obito, I give you some space like you wish, but it doesn't mean you can be so immature and careless. Fugaku said in more higher tone. He clearly was displeased by Obito's lifestyle. I know. Makoto took Haruto from his arms. Obito scratched his head in frustration. I never intended to. It's a big shock for me, too. His shoulders slumped down. About his mother. Itachi trailed off. It was clearly the most important thing at that moment. Don't tell me. The old woman looked at Hinata, concluded quickly yet wrongly. No, I'm sorry, but it's not me. I am not Haruto-kun's mom. Hinata waved her hands furiously. I found Haruto-kun in front of my door weeks ago. There is only a note. Oh, that's right. She marched to a small cabinet next to her television. Here. I found this together with Haruto-kun. She handed the paper to Haruto's father. Obito read it carefully before Itachi snatched it from him, and then it was snatched from Itachi by Fugaku. It's difficult to find someone only from this. Have you seen her? Itachi asked in serious tone. I don't know. I didn't see her. Do you know whose writing is this? It's impossible. Obito murmured lowly. So, you do know about her? Fugaku pressed. Ma, isn't it better? You should bring her in. Makoto added brightly. But we should find her first, mother. Itachi said logically. So, who is she? It's better to bring her here now or. My, Fugaku, you shouldn't be so impatient. Obito's grandmother reprimanded. All of them were talking at the same time, making Haruto confused and scared of them. Hinata was torn between asking them to stop or taking Haruto from Makoto's arms, yet she wasn't sure if she was allowed. Fortunately, Sasuke was generous enough to take the baby from his mother and handed the baby to Hinata, much to her relief. Haruto was blinking his tears away, but he didn't brawl. Such brave boy. All of his family and Hinata were too occupied that they failed to notice bell ringing at the door. Sasuke sighed and decided to open it, yet before he could take another step, the person behind the closed door was rushing into the room, clearly knew Hinata's passcode by heart. The guest picked Sasuke's irksome more. Hinata's uninvited guest, who knew the passcode and used it freely, was none other than the stupid and useless detective with stupid things on his stupid cheeks. Hinata, you will be surprised of who I found. Whoops. Am I disturbing you? Hinata saw his confused look and went to him. No, it's nothing serious. They are Haruto-kun's family from his father's side, the Uchiha family. Yeah, I can see that. He dipped his head as acknowledgement, and the black-haired family replied in return. It's all thanks to Sasuke-san that we can find them quickly. Hinata explained, and that made Sasuke smirked proudly. Eat that, dumbass. Well, that's even better since I found the little boy's mother this morning. Kiba announced loudly. Hinata gasped and she could hear the people behind her murmured lowly. The mother. He heard Obito asked. Kiba went back to the door and back to the living room with someone following him. You are, Hinata said when she saw the woman. She was the one they met at the grocery yesterday. Rin, Obito said in rasped voice. So you, Rin-chan, Makoto gasped. So, it's really you, nay. The grandmother nodded in agreement. She is Nohara Rin. She works as a marketing manager at N store. We found where she went after that day, and after a long talk, she decides to come. Kiba said formally. Sorry for the wait, Hina. He grinned to the Hyuga. Hinata shook her head. It's okay, Kiba-kun. She smiled gracefully to him. And Sasuke growled. The newfound mother took Haruto away from Hinata. I miss you, my baby, and cried. Hinata stood there rigidly and nobody said anything. Haruto was quiet and calm in his mother's arm. As a baby should in his real mother's arms. That Haruto found his real family was so touching yet so heartbreaking for Hinata. Obito raised from his seat. Why didn't you tell me? He asked suddenly. Now it was Rin who went rigid, like I would. You treat me like one of your useless bitches, showing off what weren't yours. She said flatly yet coldly. That because I want to impress you. Impress my foot. You brought me to places I don't want to be, showing how mighty you are only to get into my pants. You don't understand. Of course I don't. Rin snapped back. We spent months together doing crazy and embarrassing things which I never wanted. Only to feed your stupid ego. Sasuke raised his brows, never heard his cousin's friend to be so harsh before. Hinata saw how Rin turned into raging woman, so she took the baby from her quickly. Kiba had long went away after the short introduction, knowing he was already no use after telling Hinata about Haruto's mother. My stupid ego. You enjoyed it, too. Don't you dare to lie to me. Obito barked back. But then you disappeared without notice. Then he added quickly, I knew it. You use me to fulfill your dissatisfaction, right? So when your true target opens his arms, you fly right into him, huh? Obito accused darkly. Is that why you left? You used me to fill your boredom and run away when he asks you to come, right? To work, damn you. Unlike you, I work to earn my keep. I won't survive my living if I don't, unless I get some payment for whoring myself to you like your bitches. She hissed. I am not like an ungrateful bastard who likes to use people's things like his own. Ouch, that hurts. Sasuke commented, which gained a dark gaze from his father. Obito went silent. Makoto walked next to Rin and circled her arms around her shoulders as a support. I just went home for a week to find out my pregnancy. I was so happy that time. She closed her eyes and beads of tears fell quickly one after another. I came back to tell you. But then I saw you were having very nice time with a blonde bimbo. Rin threw the fact immediately. I thought you left me. I thought you realized I was not good enough to be with you. Obito sighed again. Since we were little kids, you admire Kakashi more than you do to me. You prioritize him more than you do to me. Deep down here I know you love him more. He placed his hand on his left chest. At that time I thought you did it with me because you were refused by Kakashi. Hinata grimaced when she heard a loud smack. Rin was standing in front of Obito and her hand was clenching tightly after the hard slap. Hinata thought perhaps the new mother wasn't sure whether to give another slap or a hard punch altogether. The tall Uchiha froze on his feet, yet his expression showed how he regretted his words, while the rest of audiences tried to give as much privacy to the couple as possible, which was almost impossible in the small living room. You deserve that, Uchiha's elderly said wistfully from her seat. Itachi decided to pull Obito away before hell broke, while Makoto pulled Rin back to his arms, for everyone's sanity. Rin went back to her wrecked mood. Let's move to Sasuke's place and talk, alright? We shouldn't impose Hinata more than this, nay. I'm sorry, Hinata-chan, for involving you more than necessary. Makoto said wisely. Hinata assured that she was fine. Fugaku marched to the front door followed by Itachi, who dragged Obito along. Makoto led Obito's grandmother to escort Rin, then she went to Hinata to take Haruto. Hinata looked at her uncertainly. Can I? Makoto nodded softly, so Hinata hugged the baby as tight as she could without suffocating him, then kissed the crown of his head. I will miss you. Then she kissed his cheek softly. Haruto smiled at Hinata. You naughty boy, knowing I can't forget you. I love you. She mumbled, then handed over the baby to Makoto. I'm sorry, Hinata-chan. And Makoto indeed looked pained to take the baby from her. Hinata shook her head. It's okay. Haruto-kun is going to be happier with his real family now. He is as happy when he is with you, too. Makoto replied kindly. Thank you for taking care of Haruto-kun so far. We will visit you soon, or you can visit us, too, when everything has settled. Makoto offered. Yes. Sure. I will look forward to it, Uchiha-san. Don't need to be so formal with me, you can call me Makoto. And Hinata did. They went to the front door. Sasuke. Makoto, her head looking at Sasuke, who stood next to Hinata. I'll help Hinata to organize Haruto's belonging. He will need them. Alright. She stepped aside. Oh, before I forget. Ask her number because I will need it to arrange small reunion after this. She winked. Sasuke rolled his eyes, knowing his mother's real intention. Hinata cleaned up after her guests went away, so did Sasuke. The cold tea which she served had turned warm long ago, forgotten by her guests. It was understandable, given the hectic and terrible situation. Hinata put her still full glasses into her tray. Water started to drop when she moved them. She could see thin layer of water around the glass surface and she brushed it off of it. The water slid down easily, fully disappeared from the surface. Just like Hinata's existence in Haruto's life.